Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
All right, and welcome to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, and as always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. All right, we're now at the round of 16, and also, what was FIFA thinking giving us no games today? All right. Like, come on now. What am I supposed to do with my day? I mean, I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning since the games come on at 7. Okay. Woke up at 6. I had nothing to do. I didn't even wake up at 6 because of an alarm. I just woke up now. I'm set to wake up at that time for the games. All right. I mean, of course, I went back to sleep. But nonetheless, I mean, would have much rather watched the game. But, of course, we had to wait till tomorrow. And I guess that's not really a bad compromise given the fact that we get no games tomorrow. But, of course, or no games today. But, of course, tomorrow we got Portugal, Uruguay, and then France, Argentina. All right. Those are going to be some good ones. And like I said, group stage is now concluded. There's one side of the bracket that is extremely difficult, and there's another side of the bracket where Sweden could come out and make the final. Like, that is a possibility. Okay, who's to say that Sweden, a team who beat South Korea, beat down on Mexico, and nearly took away points from Germany, can't beat Switzerland in their first game, can't beat England or Colombia in their next, and can't beat a Croatia or a Spanish team in the semifinal. I mean, you already make it to the semifinal. Anything could happen. All right. So it is a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen by any means, but it's possible. Okay. So, I mean, that's the way the World Cup has gone down. All these top teams that we expected to dominate have looked pretty bad. One of them being Germany. Okay, people are going to look for Germany in the round of 16 match list. You guys, Germany didn't make it. All right, Germany out of the World Cup after the group stage, following in the footsteps of France after 1998, Italy after 2006, and Spain after 2010. Okay. Germany winning it in 2014 means you don't make it out the group 2018. All right. Germany, this is all on them. This is their own fault. It's not that South Korea was that much better. Okay? It's not that Mexico was that much better. I mean, it's just Germany never switched anything up. It was the same thing game after game from them. Okay? Push the outside backs up, play through them on the wings, cross it into the middle, hope that Timo Werner or Mario Gomez gets on the end of it and puts it into the back of the net. All right, them, just like Argentina, struggled against teams who sat back and counterattacked. All right, I get that it's difficult to play against teams who are parking the bus, but there's a point where you got to figure out a way to break through. I could care less if they're parking the bus. If you're Germany or Argentina, there's no excuses there. Okay? And like I said with Germany, I mean, I was watching their game with Sweden on, what was it, Saturday? All right. They got lucky there. Sweden was the better team. All right. Sure, Germany had the most chances and all that, but what good are the chances if you're not capitalizing on them? And it's the same thing over and over and over. Germany pushes up, plays through the wings. The outside backs are so far pushed up that it's easy for Sweden to go on a counterattack and score that way. All right. I mean, it's literally easy. That's exactly how South Korea ended up scoring. I mean, of course, they ended up scoring off of a corner, but got to that corner off of a counterattack. All right. And I mean, that Toni Kroos goal, I mean, at least Germany gave us that before they left. That Toni Kroos goal was probably one of the best World Cup goals ever. I mean, literally, last kick of the game. Well, not literally, but you get what I'm saying. Last kick of the game. Germany doesn't win this, then they're most likely out. Okay? And you got Toni Kroos laying it off to Marco Reus, who then holds it for Kroos to take a shot. Bends it in perfectly. I mean, what more could you ask for there? All right. But like I said, I mean, as far as Germany, definitely this is the worst World Cup moment in their history. All right, I don't even have to go back to look at their history to find something that would rival it, because nothing will. I mean, it's the first time they've never made it out the group stage. All right. I was curious to see if they're going to be bringing back Jogi Löw, their head coach. Seems like he's not going anywhere just yet. Okay. And I think if you're Germany, you got to get rid of him. All right, yeah, he's a great coach, but there's a point where you're Germany. Not making it out the group is simply unacceptable. Okay? And with Germany, I mean, now it's just a point where he disappointed this World Cup. You got the Euros coming up in 2 years. World Cup in 2022. I mean, Thomas Muller's still 28 years old, so he's still got another run left in him. Toni Kroos. Actually, yeah, I wonder if I could check the ages of the German national team to see exactly who is going to be coming around for another World Cup and who's going to be done. And you got to think, I mean, maybe Leroy Sané would have been a big help to this German team. All right, they chose not to bring him, so that's on them. But like I said, I mean, you got to think maybe he would have made a difference. All right, so you got Timo Werner, who's 22. He'll be around for a couple more World Cups. Ozil's 29. This might have been his last. Mario Gomez is 32, so he's done. Toni Kroos is 28, so I think he's got another go of it. Muller's 28, he's got another go of it. Brandt's 22, so he'll be back. Gundogan's 27, so as long as he's playing well with his club team, he'll be back. Same with Draxler, he's 24. Goretzka's 23. Royce is 29. You got to feel bad for Marco Reus, too. His World Cups never really came into fruition, just given the fact that the dude was always injured. And this one, when he's finally healthy, they don't make it out the group. All right, so he's 29. He might be done. Kadir is done. Hector is 28. Rudy's 28. We'll see about them. Kimmich is 23, so he'll be around. Hummels and Boateng are 29, but they're defenders, so you probably keep them around for the next World Cup. All right, Rudiger's 25 also. Then you got Sule, who's 22. Ginter's 24. Plattenhardt's 26. They still got a relatively young team. All right, Neuer's 32, but of course, I mean, goalies can play till whenever. And then you got Ter Stegen, who's 26. Obviously, he's still pretty young. So, I mean, this German team still, a lot of it's still going to be around. Of course, you're probably going to be adding Leroy Sané in the next one. If not, I mean, it's cool. Go ahead and repeat your mistakes. But nonetheless, Germany, definitely a disappointment. Okay? I mean, that's an understatement. Would I say that they played the worst football out of everyone else? No. I'd say that they played better than Argentina. It's just the point where South Korea, I mean, if Germany Germany needed to win. It's the fact of the matter, all right? Germany wins, they advanced. They couldn't do it. They almost knocked out Mexico. Speaking of Mexico, I mean, what a performance that was on Wednesday. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than that, does it? Okay. Mexico looked great their first two matches. Looked like one of the best teams in the World Cup after their first two matches, all right? Beat Germany. We're the better team there. Dominated South Korea. Beat them. All right, then you're thinking, you know what, Mexico's looking good. They're going to win the group. They're going to be on the easy side of the bracket. Who knows? Maybe Mexico can make a run deep into the tournament. And then, of course, against Sweden. What do? What they always do. They played down to their opponent. They lost 3-0. Okay? 3-0. I mean, they needed to have a game where nothing like that went wrong, as bad as it did, and it did. All you needed was a draw. Okay? That's it. And they lost 3-0. And I mean, if not for South Korea, then Mexico's out. I mean, imagine all of that done in the first two games could have been just completely undone with South Korea losing to Germany if they did. All right. And I mean, you see after the game, they're at the Korean embassy in Mexico going crazy. All right. They're holding up Koreans at Russia, celebrating them. It was a nice little moment there. Okay. But nonetheless, I mean, Mexico gets another shot at life in the World Cup. They got to play Brazil next, though. Doesn't look too great, does it? All right. You could have been playing Switzerland. All right. You would have had to play England or Colombia in your next game. Easily could have beat them. Well, not easily, but that's a matchup you could have won. And then you play in the semis, either Croatia or Spain. You're in the semis, like I say. You can win that game. All right. Like I said, I mean, I do think Mexico can beat Brazil, and I think right now my pick is Mexico over Brazil. Brazil haven't necessarily looked that great. Okay. Neymar hasn't necessarily been the best. Coutinho's been on fire, but like I said, with Neymar, Brazil, they haven't really impressed me too much. All right. And as for Sweden, you got to say they were the best team in that group. All right, it was Mexico best team after 2 games, Sweden after 3. This is why we got to play them all. All right. So we'll see what ends up going down there with them. But nonetheless, I mean, Group F did not disappoint. And you feel bad for South Korea given the fact that if Mexico beats Sweden, South Korea advances. Okay. South Korea, they played pretty well. I mean, against Mexico, they tried. Against Sweden, it was just one where it was an ugly game full of fouls. And then against Germany, they were the better team. All right. South Korea had multiple chances. South Korea could have won that game 3-4-0. All right. Of course, it didn't work out that way. So we'll see what ends up going down with these teams, Sweden and Mexico. Both teams can make a run deep into the tournament. Sweden, you got to feel good for them, too, considering the fact they don't have Ibrahimovic. And I'm sure people were just completely wrote them off before the tournament because they didn't have Zlatan. All right. But in reality, this team sticks to their tactics and delivers. So we'll see there. But of course, we got more to talk about. So we'll talk about the other games and the teams who advanced this week. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Are you looking to get your college football fix? Looking to get the latest news on your favorite school's team? The GSMC College Football Podcast is your ticket to all things college football. Join us as we talk college football from the national championship, the college rivalries, the bowl game, to the Heisman Trophy. To which conference is the best? We've got you covered for the Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, the Pac-12, ACC, and everything in between. Download the GSMC College Football Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
All right, welcome back to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. Spent that first segment basically talking about Group F. All right, Germany, along with a lot of the other top teams in the group, played terrible. All right, Germany was unlucky. Well, not unlucky. They deserved not to make it out. And there were a couple other teams that probably didn't deserve to make it out the group. One that did deserve not to make it out was probably Argentina, but nonetheless, they did enough to barely get out. All right, they had their match against Nigeria. And it looked good from the beginning. I mean, Messi scored in, the 13th minute? 14th minute? Assisted from Ever Banega. All right, nice little goal, too. I liked it. Messi put himself in a position where, I mean, it's a tough angle for him to score from there, but of course it's Messi, so there was that in the first half. Second half comes, Mascherano decides it's a good idea to foul in the box. Okay. Victor Moses takes the penalty in the 51st. He ends up hitting that, makes it 1-1. After that, Argentina's trying their hardest to get the game-tying goal. They're struggling. They're not able to do it. Nigeria's got some chances. Then the 86th minute comes. Okay, Gabriel Mercado, right back for Argentina, is on the right side of the box. Crosses it in, and then who else other than, of course, Marcos Rojo to come out, volley it into the back of the net. All right. Argentina ends up winning 2-1. That was good enough to get them out the group. Except now they come out as the second team in the group, with Croatia coming in first. Argentina were just about terrible in these 3 games. All right, Iceland couldn't get anything going. Croatia just simply dominated and outclassed here against Nigeria, came away with the win, but I mean, it took a Marcos Rojo goal in the 86th minute for you to get it done. Not necessarily great. All right, not great at all. But of course, they're out. Okay. What do you expect Argentina to do going forward? I mean, honestly. All right, we had reports coming out of that camp that the players basically took over the team. All right, their head coach, Sampaoli, or whatever, how you pronounce it, is not even calling the shots anymore. All right, he's not coming up with the starting 11s according to the report. That's messy. Okay? He's got to ask his players, should we sub this guy on? Like, the dude has lost control. And I think this is a very true report because we've had Fox Sports talking about it too, and they're not going to talk about it given the fact that if it's not completely true, because, I mean, they got the rights to it and all that. But for them to mention it on the air shows me that, yeah, this is more than likely true. Okay? And I mean, only in soccer do you have stuff like this. Like, of course, like if the NFL, let's say that Belichick, okay, for those that follow the NFL, Patriots coach Bill Belichick was messing up and all that, terrible decisions. It's like Tom Brady saying, yeah, we'll make the decisions in the starting lineup and all that. I mean, that would never happen over there. Here, of course, the only sport where it could. All right? And I mean, now, what's the starting lineup for your match against France? All right, you got to play, due to your bad performances, you get to play France in the round of 16. Okay? That doesn't necessarily look too great for Argentina, but let's not forget to mention that France also has looked terrible. So Argentina definitely does have a chance to advance. All right, but it's just a point, like I said, I mean, like with Germany, all right, comparing them and Argentina, Germany had chances. Okay, meaning that they were still attacking, they were still looking good. It's just a point where they didn't switch up anything else, so they played through the side one too many times. Argentina have just looked terrible. They just haven't looked good. All right, France beat Sweden. They couldn't get a result against Mexico, South Korea, but nonetheless, they didn't play, I guess, as poorly as Argentina did. Okay? Argentina was just terrible. I mean, it seems that, like, coming into this World Cup, Argentina didn't really have a game plan. All right? It just seems that the coach was kind of overwhelmed, and he's just trying to throw anything on the wall that sticks. Okay? I mean, the lineups from Game 1 to Game 2 were not great. And like I said, for Match 3, you had Argentina, the players, deciding it. All right? Looking at their starting 11 against Iceland, you had Aguero, Messi, Di Maria, Mesa, Mascherano, and Biglia in the middle, and then Salvio, Otamendi, Rojo, and then Tagliafico on the left side, and then Caballero playing goalie. All right. Against Croatia, lineup changes. You get Aguero. Actually, no. Did we get Higuain or Aguero in the first match? We got Aguero, I believe. So you got Aguero. Okay. Di Maria doesn't play. Mesa gets moved up to a central role. Enzo Perez gets a start. Salvio still playing. Mascherano in the middle. Exuna gets a start too. And you got Mercado, Otamendi, and Tagliafico on the right side. All right. Not necessarily the best looking lineup. Playing with 3 center backs. All right. You got you got basically Mascherano and Salvio, who were playing defender in the first match. All right. And then their lineup against Nigeria, obviously different here. This one, you had Higuain getting the start, Aguero off the bench, Messi in the middle, or up top too. Di Maria starting, Banega starting, Mascherano again in the middle, Perez in the right side. And then you had Mercado and Tagliafico on the outside back spots, and then Otamendi and Rojo in the middle. All right, and then Franco Armani getting the start where I think it was his first start with Argentina. Okay. You brought Mesa off the bench, Aguero, Pavon. They left Dybala on the bench. I don't understand this Argentina team, why they don't play Dybala. All right. But nonetheless, I mean, who knows? Like I said, there's been a lot of question marks with this team. All right. So we'll see how they end up doing against France. And then, of course, you had Croatia. They played Iceland on Tuesday also. Croatia won that one 2-1, ended up winning in the 90th minute. Croatia looked like the best team in the World Cup so far. Won all three of their matches, beat Argentina 3-0, beat Iceland 2-1, beat Nigeria 2-0. I mean, can't ask for much else there. All right. Croatia's a team that could very well come out and win this World Cup. All right, we're going to make my picks for the round of 16 matchups in the last segment, but let's just say I got Croatia going pretty far. Okay. Obviously, you still got Spain on that side, who you'd have to play in the quarterfinal if they both won. And then you probably have to meet up with Colombia or England, I'm assuming, in the semifinal if they can get past Sweden or Switzerland. So, I mean, it's not necessarily the easiest, but it's not as tough as, I mean, if you're Argentina, you beat France, you got to play either Uruguay or Portugal, and then you're most likely going to have to play either Brazil, Mexico, or Belgium in the semifinal game. All right. So, I mean, it's tough team after tough team there. At least in the right side of the bracket, you get a break. Croatia, you got to play Denmark. Okay, then you got a tough one in Spain. But, of course, I mean, it's not the same as the other side where you got to play top team after top team. All right. Nonetheless, group stage, very unpredictable. I mean, no one expected Argentina to play as badly as they did. Germany were one of the favorites to win it all. They don't even make it out the group. All right, Croatia playing like a Germany or Argentina would. All right, by far one of the best teams in the World Cup so far. I mean, Mexico, you got them after first two games looking like a team who could go out and win the thing, and then you got them after the third game pretty much hoping South Korea saves them, which they did. All right. World Cup has been nothing short of exciting here. Probably one of the best World Cups I've witnessed. All right, and I think it's the same for everyone else too. But of course, I mean, we got more games to talk about. Round of 16, those matchups are looking great. I mean, Uruguay, Portugal, Argentina, France, Mexico, Brazil, Belgium, Japan, not necessarily the best looking game. But of course, Japan have played well. All right. Then we got, let's see, who else? On the right side, we got Spain, Russia, not great. Croatia, Denmark, not great. All right. Switzerland, Sweden, not great. England, Colombia. Should be a fun game if James Rodriguez is healthy enough to play. All right. Speaking of James, I mean, they played Senegal on Thursday. Actually, yesterday. All right. Colombia beat Senegal 2-1. And James Rodriguez left that match in the... Or was it 1-0? I think I might be mistaking it for a different game, that Senegal and Colombia match. All right, let me check real quick. Colombia and Senegal, that was a 1-0 game. All right, so I completely got that mixed up. But Colombia beat Senegal 1-0. All right, you had Colombia scoring in the, let's see, in the 74th minute. Yerry Mina scored again. All right, center back. James left in the 31st minute. And now I'm not sure if he's going to play against England. Okay, let's see, when is that match against England? We got, let's see, I believe that's on July 3rd, so that's got to be on a Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe. It is on a Tuesday. All right. So James has had since yesterday to recover. So he's got today, the 30th. So he's got about 4 days to recover from that calf injury. All right. And obviously this has been something he's been dealing with since the beginning of the World Cup. That's why he didn't start the first match. All right. I mean, if James isn't healthy, you got to think that England's the favorite in that matchup. All right, England have been playing pretty good so far, too, in the World Cup. We'll talk more about them in the next segment, but, I mean, they have played Panama and Tunisia, so I'm not putting too much stock into it. But, of course, like I said, we got a lot of good round of 16 matchups. I mean, we got to thank the top teams who played poorly in the group stage, I guess, to have this. So, thanks, Argentina, for being terrible. But, nonetheless, we talked about Colombia and Senegal. Senegal now out of the World Cup. Out of the World Cup due to the FIFA fair play rules, where you had Japan and Senegal tied on points, tied on goal differential. All right, scored the same amount of goals, gave up the same amount of goals, all that good stuff. So now you got to decide a different way to send a team through. That's FIFA fair play. Whoever had more yellow cards did not get sent through. Senegal had more, so they were required to go home. Japan get through to the round of 16. Not the best rule, but I mean, how else are you going to do it? Okay, you can't have them do a penalty shootout at the end because they already played. You can't do the head-to-head because they drew. All right, so I guess it's just the way it is right there. But Senegal, very unlucky. I think they were one of the best teams in that Group H, if not the best. But of course, Colombia won, so they topped the group, and Japan lost to Poland. So less yellow cards means you get through. All right, so we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be talking about all of the other games too. So stay tuned, and I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. So far, we've talked Group F. We talked Argentina, their group also. And I think that was pretty much it. We talked about Colombia and Senegal, too, at the end of this last segment. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about them, but nonetheless, I mean, paying attention to the stats of the World Cup so far, I mean, you got Harry Kane after the group stages leading everyone in goals with 5. You got Lukaku and Ronaldo behind him with 4. Diego Costa's got 3, along with Denis Cherchev. Hazard's got 2, Mina's got 2, and then it's a bunch of players who got eliminated after that. I mean, you got to think it's going to come down to Lukaku, Kane, or Ronaldo for that Golden Boot race. I mean, of course, Diego Costa could win it if Spain go far. Maybe if Russia beats Spain, Cherchev could do something too. Looking at the assists, you got Carlos Sanchez with 2 from Uruguay. All right, Golovin with 2 from Russia. Tielemans with 2 from Belgium. Let's see. Penalties. There's been plenty of penalties. Let's see. How many penalties have been given away so far? Let's see. Kane has taken 2. Let's see. 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 penalties, I believe. All right, have been taken so far. It's a bit much, wouldn't you say so? All right. Let's see. I'm trying to see the keeper saves. I gotta think that Korea's goalie's up there, at least for total saves. I could bring it up. It doesn't got total saves, so let's see. It's on average saves per game. Egypt's goalie, who's at 1, they're now knocked out. So I guess the goalie after that, who's still in at number 2, is Ochoa with averaging about 6 saves per game. That's a bit ridiculous if you're Mexico. All right, Croatia's goalie up there with 5. Korea's keeper made 4 saves per match in the 3. I feel like Korea's goalie did a whole lot more. He was one of the best in the tournament. All right, I wonder if he's going to get any interest as far as this summer transfer window for him to go anywhere. I mean, their goalie was very good. I mean, against Germany, he made a lot of big-time saves. Same against Sweden also. All right. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But nonetheless, as far as the how do you say, the Golden Boot race goes, Kane right now leading it. All right, that could be over if England don't end up doing their job against Colombia. All right, speaking of England, so on Thursday, okay, I wake up, like I said, wake up at 6 just to get ready for the Colombia game at 7. They're playing Senegal. All right, so that's the game I'm going to watch in the morning, and then I'm going to get ready for Belgium-England at 11. All right, I'm excited for the Belgium and England game because, I mean, it's going to be for the winner, like group winner, And both teams have played really well against Panama and Tunisia. Yes, it's Panama and Tunisia, so now we're going to see how they match up against each other. All right. So time's passing. I take a little nap just to kill time before. You wake up. Oh, lineups are out. Cool. Let's check to see who they put out. Maybe you're thinking England's not going to start Raheem Sterling. He hasn't been great or anything like that. Yeah, they didn't start Raheem Sterling. But they didn't start anyone. Okay, they basically played their second team along with Belgium. Very disappointing. All right. Obviously, they all sat. Both teams sat their top players because none of them wanted to win and play in the tough side of the bracket where you got Argentina, France, Uruguay, Portugal, Mexico, Brazil. All right. They'd much rather play on the opposite side of the bracket. Let's look at England's starting lineup. All right. England put out Vardy, Rashford, Danny Rose, Delph, Cheek, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Eric Dyer, Phil Jones, John Stones, Gary Cahill, Jordan Pickford. Basically played a 3-1-4-2. All right. They basically had 6 defenders on the field, if you're counting Dyer. All right. Against 6 players whose primary position is defender. All right. 3 center backs, 2 outside backs, and I guess Dyer plays center back too. He also plays midfield, so we might have to give him the benefit of the doubt there. Either way, I mean, that's not a great lineup. And even Belgium. They played Michy Batshuayi, Adnan Januzaj. They played Fellaini. They played Hazard's brother, not even the right Hazard. All right, you played Dembele, Tielemans, Chadley, who plays for West Brom. West Brom just got relegated. Vermaelen, world's slowest defender. Boyata, and then Dead Knocker. Okay, Courtois is the only guy who's in the starting 11 each game started. I mean, even England, their subs, they brought on Danny Welbeck and Harry Maguire. No Dele Alli, no Jesse Lingard, no Jordan Henderson, no Raheem Sterling, no Harry Kane, no Ashley Young, no Kyle Walker. All right. And I mean, at least Belgium, they brought on Mertens. All right, they brought on Company too. No Carrasco, no Witzel, no De Bruyne, no Hazard, no Lukaku in this one. No Alderweireld, no Meunier, no Vertonghen. So, they both cheated us out of a great game. All right. I mean, if they were going to do that, we should have just had them play in the morning and had Colombia, Senegal, Japan, Poland play later on in the game, later on in the day. Okay. But of course, it doesn't always work that way in FIFA. All right, so you had both of those teams making it out the group. Obviously, Belgium winning it, so they get the honor of playing in the tough side of the bracket. England, what do we think of them? Okay, because if history tells us something, it's that England loses to Colombia in the round of 16. Like, we know that, right? Like, are England fans preparing for that? I feel like morale among England fans has been pretty high. If you're paying attention to social media and all right, they really do think that they have a chance to do something. They really like Gareth Southgate. But honestly, history tells us that England loses this round of 16 matchup to Colombia. Okay. I mean, doesn't it? England's on the easy side of the bracket here. Okay. Other than that Belgium game, had a decent showing in the group stage. Now you get to play Colombia. Chances are you beat Colombia, you're going to be playing Sweden or Switzerland. You could easily beat them. Then you get to the semifinal where you could play Spain or Croatia. And if you're England, you got to think you made it all the way to the semifinal. Why not the final? All right. I would say this. If England win this game, they go to the semis at least. If it's no in between. It's not like they lose in the quarters. They're going to win the quarters if they advance out of this round of 16 game. It's one or the other. It's win the round of 16, make it to the semis to have a chance to go to the final, or it's lose here and be done with it altogether. All right. But, the pressure on England, that's the Tottenham of international football right there. All right. Arsenal fans, Manchester United fans, who are also fans of England, don't want to hear that, but it's true. All right. You don't want to hear that your favorite international team, the team that you represent, all right, the team that you take pride in rooting, is just like Tottenham when it comes to big games. And I'm sorry, Tottenham fans, I don't mean to take shots at you guys, or the team, but it's true. All right. And even then, so I'd say that England has a better squad than Colombia right now, even with James being healthy. All right. So we'll see. I mean, England could get lucky, and James might not be fit for that game. But of course, he's got 4 days from yesterday to, I believe, Tuesday to get ready. Okay. So it'll be real interesting to see what ends up going down with England. Like I said, I mean, there's no in between. It's either you win the round of 16, you're gonna make it to the semis. You lose, you're done. All right. Well, like I said, I mean, past history tells us that England loses this game. All right. Then you got Belgium. Belgium do have a decent chance of making it to the semis. I mean, I got Mexico beating Brazil, and I think Belgium could beat Mexico. So I guess if Belgium beats Japan and my correction of Brazil and Mexico goes right, then I got Belgium making it to the semis. All right. Like I said, I'm not going to get too much into my predictions. We'll save that for the next segment. But of course, I mean, we're going to have to give up some of them. All right. Belgium have played well, and I mean, their second team was better than England, so that's a plus there. Let's see anything else as far as games we need to cover from this week. I mean, Brazil played. We'll talk more about Brazil in the next segment. Switzerland drew with Costa Rica. Switzerland's looked pretty good so far in this World Cup, I'd say so. All right, France, they disappointed. We'll talk about them in the next segment too. So I think we might just have to wrap it up here. All right, but like I said, England, I'd be a bit nervous if I was a fan of them. All right, Belgium, not really nervous about that. All right, because I mean, England, yeah, you get the easier side of the bracket, but you get the tougher team in the round of 16. If I was England, I would much rather played Japan, just given the fact that you play Japan, you're going to beat them. Okay? Against Brazil or Mexico, that's a team that England could beat too. But of course, now you got your tough game to start. So we'll see what ends up going down with England. But nonetheless, we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be talking about Brazil and France and then making my picks for the knockout stage matches. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. So far, we basically just recapped the week that was in the World Cup. All right, Germany's gone. Mexico barely survived. Sweden won that group. South Korea, if Mexico would have won, would have advanced. All right, then you had Argentina's group. Croatia won that group and by far looked like the best team. Iceland, if they would have won, they would have advanced. Nigeria came close to advancing, but of course, Marcos Rojo had to say about that. He ends up scoring a goal in the 86th minute, which sends Argentina through. Now they got to play France. All right. England, they ended up losing their match against Belgium. Now they get the benefit of playing the weaker side of the bracket, but they have to play Colombia first, whereas Belgium got to play Japan first. Okay? And I'm just curious, who benefits from, let's say England loses to Colombia and then Belgium loses to Mexico or Brazil in the quarterfinal match? I mean, that kind of just shows that both teams might as well could have played their starting 11s, their best starting 11s in that match day 3 game between themselves in the group, and both could have got knocked out early on in the World Cup. I mean, they could have did us a favor there. But of course, like I said, I mean, it all could be for nothing. England playing Phil Jones in a World Cup match by them losing the Colombia game. I mean, was it worth it, England? Was it worth playing Phil Jones just to play a team you're probably going to lose to? All right. I hope they really think long and hard about it. But nonetheless, I mean, there's that. England have looked good, I guess. I mean, how much stock you want to put in? Let's talk about it. How much stock you want to put into an England team who beat Panama and Tunisia? Struggled against Tunisia, mind you. Okay? We want to act like this England team can really do it? Or we want to pump the brakes a bit and wait and see. All right. I'll do whatever you guys want to do. You want to say England is poised to make it to the final? Sure. All right. You want to say that they could lose to Colombia? I believe that one too. I think they are going to lose to Colombia. Okay. But nonetheless, I mean, yeah, they played Phil Jones just to get to this point. Terrible. Just terrible. All right. So there's that. And then we got Brazil. Okay, they won their group. Did they look convincing doing it? No. All right, they came in first in that group, above Switzerland, who came in second, Serbia in third, Costa Rica in fourth. I mean, good on Costa Rica, at least getting a point. Costa Rica last World Cup went to the quarterfinals. This one couldn't even make it out the group. A shame, I tell you. A shame. Actually, let's talk about Brazil. All right, so, I mean, looking at it, on paper, Brazil scored 5 goals, only gave up 1. Okay, won 2 games, drew 1. I mean, Brazil on paper looked like they did pretty well, but if you're looking at the way they played, the eye test, I mean, they didn't look too great, did they? Switzerland, they drew. They looked terrible against Switzerland. That was their worst game in the group by far. All right, looked terrible against Switzerland. Against Costa Rica, I mean, it took a 90th minute game winner by Felipe Coutinho to win it. And then against Serbia, yeah, I'll give them that. They did dominate that match. All right. But it's just a point where I noticed that these South American teams have struggled against these teams who will sit back and counter you. Okay, Brazil did it, struggled. Argentina struggled. Uruguay struggled against Egypt and Saudi Arabia. All right, let's see. Who else? Is there another South American team that did? Colombia. I feel like in Colombia's group, you didn't really have a team who sat back and tried to counter. I mean, Poland, Japan, Senegal all tried to go out and winning the match. All right, but like I said, Brazil struggled against these teams who sit back and counter. Mexico's going to do that. Okay? It's one of the reasons why I think Mexico can beat Brazil. It's a thing of style. Mexico has quality on their team, that's no doubt. Now it's just a matter of if their play style can help them get past Brazil, and I think it can. I mean, you got Mexico sitting back. Brazil's going to be opened up with their fullbacks pushing up. It's going to be like the Germany game all over again, I think. Okay? As far as the result, I mean, Brazil could win it, Mexico could win it. I could care less, but that's going to be basically what the game's going to look like. It's going to look like Germany versus Mexico all over again. Okay? And, I mean, in that Germany game, Mexico had a chance to win 3-4-0. Okay? Who's to say that they don't beat Brazil? All right, Mexico against Sweden, obviously it looked like they were going to be done. Okay, it looked like they were on their way out. Players crying and everything. South Korea saves them. That gives you that new sense of hope for Mexico. I think Mexico's going to take that and they're going to do well against Brazil. All right, so we'll see about that game. And then, of course, I mean, you had France playing Denmark on Tuesday. That game was terrible. France have really disappointed me so far, okay? Like, they really have. They've been god-awful. Terrible. All right. I mean, yeah, they didn't play their best starting 11 against Denmark, but there's a point where you're starting guys like Giroud, Griezmann, Dembele, Lamar. You shouldn't go goalless in a match. Okay? This isn't like England playing Phil Jones and those guys. These are guys who Lamar could start on any other national team. Dembele, Giroud. Griezmann's already an everyday starter for France, so you get what I'm saying, though. All right? France should have did a whole lot better. I mean, you bring on Mbappe, too, off the bench, and you don't get 1 goal. It felt like France was basically playing like Iceland. We're going to play through the back and pretty much hold on to the ball. All right, you had Griezmann talking about that's how they play at Atletico Madrid, and it's not necessarily the best thing. Okay. So, I mean, with France, their game against Argentina, it's a matter of pick your poison. Both teams have played poorly in the group. I get that France have won their group, but that's not enough. Okay? That just simply isn't. You got to play well if you want to make it far in the World Cup. Croatia's a team I could see going far. All right, France, a team I could see losing in the round of 16 to a bad Argentina team. Who knows? All right. But nonetheless, there was that. Let's see, did we miss any other teams as far as teams that played this weekend before we get into the round of 16 matches? Iran and Portugal, those games are on Monday, so we already covered that. Peru and Australia, I mean, those teams are out. Good on Peru to get their points, though. They beat Australia 2-0. All right, we talked about Group F, we talked about Group D, talked about Group E, talked about Group H, and Group G. So, yeah, basically now it's time to move on to the knockout stage. Okay, so the way we have it here, like I said, we got Uruguay, Portugal, France, Argentina on Saturday. Sunday, we got Spain, Russia, Croatia, Denmark on Sunday. Monday, we got Brazil, Mexico, Belgium, Japan. And then on Tuesday, we got Sweden, Switzerland, Colombia, England. Let's pick these games. Uruguay, Portugal. Portugal looked pretty good in the group. Ronaldo looked pretty good in the group. Uruguay, it seems that Cavani and Suarez found their footing in the last match. And that defense, I mean, they had 3 clean sheets in those 3 games. All right. My pick for this match is Uruguay over Portugal. Portugal have played well, but I think that defense is going to do well to limit Ronaldo. And I haven't seen anyone else on Portugal that has stepped up and shown me, oh yeah, if Ronaldo doesn't have a great game or isn't at the level that he needs to be, this guy could step up. So I'm going to go Uruguay there. Then we got France, Argentina. This is a pick'em game right here. I mean, neither team has played great, and it's just like I have no clue who's going to win this match. All right, this is clear. This is a toss-em-up game right here. I mean, I want to go with France, and I have no clue. I have no clue who's going to win this game. I think I'll go with... I want to go with Argentina, or do I want to go with France? I mean, Argentina have looked really bad, though. Like, France at least have won some matches. Like, Argentina have looked terrible. All right. I'm going to go with France against Argentina. Argentina... I don't feel comfortable with this pick. I'm going to go France. I'm going to stick with it. France beating Argentina. All right, so it'll be Uruguay, France in the quarterfinal. Brazil, Mexico. I'm going to stick with Mexico. I think the way Brazil plays is going to be perfect for Mexico, given they're going to sit back and counter. Belgium, Japan. I'll go Belgium. So we got Uruguay, France, Belgium, Mexico. Then Spain, Russia. I'll go Spain easily in that one. Croatia, Denmark. I got Croatia. Sweden, Switzerland. I'll go Sweden. England, Colombia. I will go England. Okay. So in round of quarterfinals, we got Uruguay, France. I will go Uruguay, Mexico, Belgium. I will go Belgium. All right, so it's Uruguay, Belgium in the semis, and then we got Croatia, Spain in the quarters on the other side. I got Croatia on that one. England, Sweden. I got England. So we got Croatia, England in the semis, Belgium, Uruguay. I'll go Uruguay against Belgium. I will take Croatia against England. All right, so a Uruguay, Croatia final. I'm going to stick with the team with the best defense and attackers. I'm going to go Uruguay winning it all. All right. And it seems like it's going to be one of those World Cup where something like that happens because these top teams have not impressed at all. So I got Uruguay beating Croatia in the final. And I think that'd be a solid final too. So I like it. Either way, though, we're going to wrap it up here. All right. We basically recapped the week that was in the World Cup. Now we're moving on to the round of 16. I will be back on Monday, so we will recap Saturday's games, Sunday's games, and Monday's games since we will be recording after those games have taken place on Monday. So thanks for listening to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. As always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. Like I said, I'll be back on Monday, so stay tuned, and I will talk to you guys later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.